is Wednesday, May 13th, 2026, and this is the Neural Right. I'm Josh Cohen, and I'm the logic bully that provides your daily dose of sanity. I'm Will Sterling.
I'm Ashley Thorne. And I'm Diane Albright. We have a great show for you today.
Okay, gang, we have a fascinating lineup today. Yesterday, we spent a lot of time tracking President Trump's diplomatic moves in Beijing and that energy milestone, 13.6 million barrels a day, which, let's be real, is the only reason our economy hasn't fully collapsed into a black hole of debt. We also touched on that Arcadia mayor scandal, but today, the world has decided to turn the absurdity dial up to 11.
Is it even possible to go higher than 11?
Honey, the ruling class finds a way every single morning before I've even had my first cup of coffee.
Let's assume for the sake of argument that the government is actually trying to be competent. Today's news makes that a very difficult assumption to maintain. We're talking automated government incompetence, a massive security pivot, and a culture that is finally starting to push back against the celebrity lecture circuit.
Can we start with the car? Please tell me we're starting with the Knight Rider car.
It is too perfect not to. Will, walk us through the bureaucratic genius of New York City.
Okay, so folks, imagine you're at the Volo Auto Museum in Illinois. You've got Kit, the famous Trans Am from Knight Rider, sitting safely behind a velvet rope. It's a museum piece. It hasn't moved in years. Suddenly, the museum gets a speeding ticket from the New York City Department of Finance?
Excuse me?
I'm not kidding. A speed camera in NYC flagged Kit for doing 90 miles per hour in a school zone?
Michael, I'm late for social justice class. That is classic. Did they think David Hasselhoff was behind the wheel?
That's the thing. The car was 800 miles away in a different state. But because of a plate spoofing error or just a massive glitch in their automated system, New York wants their $50. And the best part? The city is telling the museum they have to prove the car wasn't in New York.
It's the guilty until proven innocent doctrine of the administrative state. Facts don't care about your feelings, but they also don't seem to care about New York's revenue stream. According to CBS News, NYC issued 16.5 million tickets last year. That's one every 2 seconds. It's not about safety. It's a high-frequency trading algorithm for government theft.
It's so predatory. They set these cameras up, they automate the justice, and then they bury you in paperwork if you dare to say, hey, my car is literally an exhibit in Illinois.
It's the death of common sense. If a human looked at that for half a second, they'd see it's a museum registration. But the machine doesn't care. It just wants the swipe of the credit card.
Think about it. They hate you so much, they'll ticket a car that isn't even in the same time zone. What is going on here?
While New York is busy harassing museum exhibits, the actual adults are trying to restore some semblance of national security. As I mentioned, the president is in Beijing today with Pete Hegseth. That is a very specific signal. You don't bring the Secretary of War to a trade meeting unless you're redefining the terms of engagement.
It's about strength, Josh. Hegseth being there says the globalist era of apologizing for our existence is over.
And about time, too.
But look at what's happening on the home front. The DOJ just unsealed an indictment against those shipping companies involved in the Francis Scott Key destruction back in 24. We're talking a $5 billion economic hit.
Wait, are we actually going to see accountability? Or is this just more procedural theater?
Acting AG Todd Blanche is calling it reckless disregard for maritime safety. They're going after the Indian nationals and the Singapore-based corporations. It's a pivot back to a hemispheric vocation, securing our own infrastructure and stopping the flow of chaos.
And it's not just bridges. Look at what ICE is doing. They just launched a massive operation targeting 10,000 foreign students for visa fraud.
10,000?
10,000, Will. According to reports from the Asia Cable, these students were using optional practical training visas, but were actually tied to shell companies that didn't even have offices. It's a magnet for people to bypass the system.
Honey, it's a back door. They come for school, they work for a fake company, and they never leave.
Let's be real. The OPT program has been a legal loophole for years. My wife, who is a doctor, had to jump through 10,000 legitimate hoops to practice medicine. Yet we have 10,000 students literally living in the shadows because the government couldn't be bothered to check if their employer was a real building or a broom closet in Mumbai.
Why are they doing this now? I mean, why was this allowed to go on for so long?
Because the ruling class wanted the cheap labor and the high tuition fees. They didn't care about the security risk, but under this new restoring order doctrine, that's being dismantled.
Speaking of dismantled, have you seen what's happening in Chicago and Philly? I call it the Soft on Crime special. We have teen takeovers happening every weekend now.
Teen takeovers. That's such a polite way of saying coordinated urban riots.
Exactly. In Chicago, 300 kids swarming Hyde Park, jumping on cars, taunting police. And in Philly, a student at Temple was chased into her dorm lobby and beaten by a mob of 9 juveniles. 9!
9 kids attacking one student? In the lobby?
It was on camera, Will. And the response from the progressive side is always, oh, they just need more youth centers. No, they need a father and a consequence.
Hypothetically, if we stopped prosecuting minor crimes, we'd see a decrease in crime, right? That was the theory. Instead, as the Philadelphia Inquirer and other outlets have shown, we've created a common sense vacuum. If there's no price to pay for chasing a girl into a dorm, why wouldn't they do it?
It's a mindset of victimhood. The kids think they're oppressed, so the rules don't apply. It's cultural decay, plain and simple. Life is hard. Get a helmet. But these kids are being taught the world owes them a free pass to be violent.
They hate the idea of order. They really do.
Okay, let's talk about the actual deep state for a second. There is a CIA whistleblower on the stand today. This is the stuff they told us was a conspiracy theory for 3 years.
Rand Paul is leading the charge on this. The allegation, according to the Senate Homeland Security Committee, is that the CIA basically bribed its own analysts to lie about COVID-19's origins.
Wait, they paid them? To change their minds?
That's the testimony. 6 out of 7 analysts on the CIA team concluded it came from a lab in Wuhan. 6 out of 7! And the whistleblower says they were offered significant monetary incentives, basically hush money, to change their conclusion to undetermined.
Oh, please, we all knew it. But to see it in a memo, to see that our own intelligence agency was acting like a PR firm for the CCP, it's disgusting.
It violates every principle of objective analysis. Facts don't care about your political narrative, but apparently the CIA's budget does. If you can't trust the data coming out of Langley because it's been incentivized, then the entire intelligence community is a sunk cost.
They hate the truth. That's the only conclusion. They'd rather pay people to lie than admit the experts were wrong.
And while the CIA is busy burying the truth, the DOJ is actually doing something I approve of for once. They are suing the city of Denver over their 1989 assault weapons ban.
Finally.
Harmeet Dillon and Todd Blanche are framing this perfectly. They're saying the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. Denver is trying to ban rifles that are owned by 16 million Americans. Under the Bruin standard, you can't just ban common arms because you don't like the way they look.
Wait, Denver has had this ban since 1989? Why is the federal government just now stepping in?
Because we finally have a DOJ that views the Constitution as a mandate, not a suggestion. They're also rolling back the ATF's pistol brace rule and the bump stock ban. It's a return to common sense gun ownership.
It's about time law-abiding citizens stop being the target while the teen takeovers get a slap on the wrist.
Get a helmet, Denver. The Constitution is coming for your local ordinances.
Let's look at the midterms for a second. West Virginia and Nebraska had primaries yesterday. Josh, what's the logic on this Nebraska strategic withdrawal thing?
It is the most crazy world thing I've seen this cycle. Cindy Burbank won the Democratic primary for the Senate, and her first move, she's pledging to drop out.
To
do what?
To clear the lane for an independent candidate. It's a shell game, gang. They know the Democrat label is toxic in Nebraska, so they're trying to run a not a Democrat who will vote exactly like a Democrat.
But is that even legal? I mean, you run a whole primary just to quit?
It's tactical maneuvering, just like the Supreme Court ruling in Alabama. The court gave the GOP an opening to gain a seat by halting a lower court's redistricting order. The left is screaming disenfranchisement, but the reality is just a return to state-level sovereignty.
Oh no, the states are in charge of their own maps? The horror! Give me a break.
We also have a bit of a health scare to monitor. The MV Hondius, a cruise ship, is currently the source of a hantavirus outbreak.
Hantavirus? Like the rodent thing?
Specifically, the Andes strain. Now, don't panic. This isn't COVID 2.0, but the Andes strain is the only one that can go human to human. 16 Americans are currently under quarantine in Omaha.
Why Omaha?
Because they have the best biocontainment unit in the country. It's a common sense precaution, but it's a reminder that while we're focused on inflation, which by the way ticked up to 3.8% today, the world is still a very messy, unpredictable place.
3.8%? And gas is up nearly 30% year over year? How is anyone supposed to breathe?
They aren't, Diane. That's the point. But there is a bit of hope in the Road to Housing Act.
Right, Section 901. It would ban investment firms, think BlackRock, from buying up more than 350 single-family homes.
Finally! The ruling class can't just buy the whole neighborhood and rent it back to us?
That's the goal. Trump is pushing the House to pass it as is. It's a populist move, but a necessary one to protect the American dream.
Okay, but we have to end on this vibe shift in the media. This is my favorite story of the week. Bill Maher, yes, that Bill Maher, went on an absolute tear yesterday against woke Hollywood.
Oh, I saw this. He called it the Gilded Cage disconnect.
He cited a survey of Ohio voters showing that a celebrity endorsement specifically mentioning Taylor Swift actually has a 24% negative impact on a candidate.
24%? So if a star likes you, people hate you more?
Precisely. Maher's point was that star power isn't a currency anymore. It's a tax. And you can see the celebrities scrambling. Jennifer Lawrence is out here saying she dialed it back because she realized she wasn't helping. Neil Patrick Harris and Michelle Yeoh are saying they want apolitical projects now.
It's a market correction. The celebrity lecturer business model is bankrupt. Late night ratings are in the toilet. Colbert's basically a ghost at this point. And the American public has finally said, I don't care what the person who pretends to be a superhero for a living thinks about my tax policy.
Honey, it's about time. They live in these gated communities and tell us we're bigots for wanting a border. People are exhausted.
That's why we're here. We have the megaphone now because we're the ones actually living in the real world. Bill Maher seeing the writing on the wall is just the first domino.
It's the shut up and play pivot. And honestly, it's the most common sense development of 2026 so far. If I want to lecture, I'll go to my wife, who is a doctor, by the way. I won't go to a late night host who hasn't been funny since 2012.
What is going on? The world is actually starting to make sense? I'm scared, Josh.
Don't worry, Will. I'm sure the government will do something spectacularly stupid by tomorrow morning to restore the status quo.
I'll have the Chardonnay ready for it.
That's the show for today. We've seen everything from Kit Cars getting fake tickets to the deep state getting caught with its hand in the hush money jar, and a media elite finally realizing nobody is listening to them. The common sense revolution isn't just coming, it's already winning the culture war one late night failure at a time.
Stay fired up.
Catch you later.
Please, stay sane.
Facts don't care about your feelings.